Okay, so this is for the color temperature part of the lab. I actually have 3 LEDs here, and they're 3 different color temperatures. It may be difficult to tell. I think you can see certainly the difference here for this one. You notice how that's like a whiter light, almost a bluish tint to it. And then this is kind of like a yellowish, and that's sort of like in between, right? So, but these two are pretty close, right? But this one I think is pretty distinct, that it's a whiter light. And that's daylight. That's a daylight bulb. And so these are actually, they use the same amount of power, and then therefore the same amount of energy over time, but they emit slightly different color, what's called color temperatures of light. Okay. And so let's look at so this one. And by the way, I couldn't do this with an incandescent because it would be too hot, because it's so inefficient that it wastes a bunch of energy as heat. All right, so let's look at the color temperature. It's usually on the base somewhere. Okay, see it says 2700 K, right? So it says 9.5 watts, 800 lumens, that's the amount of light, 220 volts, and then 2700 K. Okay, so that's the color temperature. 2700 K is what's called a warm light. Okay, now this one, it's like hard to see on the base, it's so dim, but this one's 3000. See down here, it says 3000 K, right? And so this is your it's a bright white. Okay, and then this one, the one on the right, is 5000 K, and that is your daylight. See, it says daylight. Okay, so the daylight it's a higher color temperature, but it's actually called a cooler temperature, whereas this is considered warmer, right? Okay, so again, warmer light is like a yellowish tint, and then a cooler color temperature is like your daylight, or more white and almost bluish. Okay, and so again, the higher the color temperature, the more you get closer to that like daylight white / blue color. Okay, so just to be clear, the initial lights that we looked at in the lab were all in this sort of warmer light. Okay, so they weren't, the incandescent and the CFL were both in this like 2700 to 3000 K. Okay, all right, so that should take you through the color temperature part of the lab.